If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Logic is about to release his new album, Vinyl Days, in about 4 weeks, looking at the calendar. He announced recently, and I've made a video back when this happened, but he announced that this is going to drop on June 17th, and that, you know, the official album cover also dropped with it, which is his son in his creative room right there. But as I said, I made an entire video going over that announcement, so make sure you go check that out if you haven't yet. And today we actually got another single for this new record, and it's called Vinyl Days. Is the title track. It's featuring DJ Premier, even though only, you know, Six has credit as a producer on here, but, you know, DJ Premier kind of like a cameo in there. But great for Logic to be on like a, you know, F Primo on a track like that. So that's the title track for this record. I thought that sounded pretty good, but there's a couple of things that I am very worried about, and so that is what I wanted to get into today. So as I just said, we got that new single, Vinyl Days, that I thought was actually pretty good, but that is not the only single that we've gotten over the course of the rollout so far. And in the singles mostly, and the way they roll out, I see kind of the problem with this, and maybe also in the music side a little bit, but I want to kind of break it down now. So the first two singles that we officially got for this project were Decades and Tetris, and those were leaks that were going around earlier, but then also became the first two singles for this record. And on tracks like Decades, I really see a problem where this whole thing could just take a wrong turn. You know, Logic has tried to dabble in like the singing realm a little bit with Supermarket, for example, and even though I enjoyed that record quite a bit, mostly for personal reasons though, but people didn't like it, and I can see objectively that was not a great performance that Logic delivered on that record. And also on Decades, it kind of feels unfinished. It feels like he just had that hook that he was singing and then just threw like a verse in there that was mostly recycled as well. So it kind of felt lazy, and the same problem with the recycled bars and stuff like that. I've also felt the same way about Tetris, the other single that dropped, which I think was better than Decades, but still, you know, just some stuff on there that I'm like, yo, Logic, after like 10 years of listening to you, like, come on, there's like a step up a little bit like that. But as I said, it's all good. Tetris is the better track, but I kind of feel the same way about Vinyl Days, the new track, but this is by far the best one though. Partly also because of the instrumental, but also because he does have some original stuff on here that I was, you know, that I'm very excited about, and I've been listening to that track all day so far, trying to like, you know, dissect it a little bit. But that's kind of like just to get started with what I think about the single so far. The main problem I see now is he also took to his Instagram and social media and everywhere. He posted a picture of him and Six in the studio, and Bobby Campbell is there as well. But he said in the caption, "I'm dropping a single every week until Vinyl Days. The album releases on June 17th. The title track featuring DJ Premier is out this Friday," which obviously already happened. But he's doing this again of dropping a song a week before an album drops. He did the same thing last summer over June, July with Bobby Tarantino 3, which was really not a good project. I really did not enjoy that, and objectively, and you know, not a lot of people enjoyed that, and I get that objectively. So he did the same thing back then, kind of releasing random singles. You know, like we had tracks in there that didn't even fit the vibe of the record that released as singles, and we were all confused as to how these were gonna, you know, be implemented in the final record, and it just turned out to be really weird. Now, so far, I don't see this problem with this record because all the singles so far, you know, I'm counting Tetris, Decades, Vinyl Days, maybe the Therapy Session track with Russ is also going to be a single on here. We just don't know that yet for sure. But those so far sound like they could all fit into like a bigger picture of Vinyl Days, which the whole concept of the album is that taking it back to the 90s, the quote-unquote Vinyl Days, literally, and kind of drawing inspiration from there. So far, I don't see, you know, the problem with that. But as he releases more and more singles, there are two ways that this can go. or three ways actually. Let me break them down. The first one is that all of the singles that are coming out are unique in their own way. They are still fitting into the whole theme of the Vinyl Days record, but still have their own character, which would be the best case scenario, so that those singles hype us up even more. But then again, it's like a Joyner Lucas type of situation where you have half of the album already released as singles. I mean, if the album is, how many Fridays do we have till the album? We have next week the 27th, we have the week after the 3rd, then the 10th, so that's still 3 singles. So if he drops every week, that is what now, 7 singles until the album releases. Now let's say the album has about 10 to 15 tracks. That is more than half of the album, or half of the album, and we've seen that go not in the right direction with ADHD for Joyner Lucas. So I'm kind of very worried about that as well, the way he's just rolling this out. And I know Logic is out there like, I don't give a fuck, and like, I'm just doing this for fun, and I get that, and the Rat Pack always defends him by quoting him and saying that, but I'm just saying from someone who cares about how Logic is also perceived a little bit, just because back in the mixtape days I was a diehard fan. I'm kind of worried about this, let me say that. Anyway, so that would be the best case scenario. The other two scenarios are that he's gonna drop more singles that are kind of in the same lane as the ones he already dropped, so boom bap instrumentals and rapping over them, maybe recycling some bars, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but he's just very infamous for. Then that would just not really make for a great rollout. People would be bored before they even heard the record, and there's no excitement for what's still to come on the record. That is the main problem and worry I have for this as well. And the third situation that this could go is that the singles are just going to be completely random again. We are going to question Logic if he's even capable of putting together a cohesive record like it was with Bobby Tarantino 3, and that would also not turn out to be very good for the record and for Logic and the fans. So either way of those three ways that it could go, I don't really see releasing a single every week as an effective marketing strategy. It's not like he's trying to blow up like he's a Russ in 2016 releasing a song every week. So yeah, I'm really worried about that. That kind of gives like a bittersweet taste as to what Vinyl Days turns out to be. I thought it was going to be this great project that maybe had 1 or 2 singles before that got us really hyped up, and then would just get a body of work that we could enjoy and discover new stuff on and listen to it for the weeks to come, kind of dissect all the new tracks we got. But this way it's just like, yeah, we're getting all the tracks before. So anyway, that's kind of my worries about this. But I don't want to come across as like a hater or anything. Like, I love Logic, the man, for what he's done for hip-hop and for putting out these amazing mixtapes, and the first couple of albums were also just straight, for him, classics, not like in general, but for the fan base, classics. And he's been slipping up the past couple of years, let me say that. But that's my worries, this whole releasing a song every week, what that's going to do for the album, what that's going to do with our perception of the album, because I think albums they are perceived differently when we have a lot of material to go off of before they drop, because our expectations kind of narrow down by that. While if the album just dropped out of the blue, we would just go into it with not that much in our heads, as to like a preconceived notion of what it would have to be. But I am hoping for the best. I want this dude, Bobby, to win. I know he's happy with his family, so all love to the man. I'm just expressing my thoughts right here. But I want to know what you think about this now, because this is a very interesting thing to talk about. This whole, Vinyl Days album drop and him coming out of retirement again, and this being the last record under Def Jam. Maybe that's also why he's dropping so many singles. Maybe there's some contract, kind of loophole in there, something that I don't know about. If any of you have more information on this, let me know. And also what you think about the whole, dropping a single a week and all of this, and your worries about the record as well. Or are you just like, completely like excited for this and have no worries or concerns whatsoever? Any way you view it, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.